Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Here we go again. I guess it's election season, so I'm in full combat the dishonest Democrat narrative mode. Every video I'm recording today, I guess, is just a rebuke to all the ridiculous pro-Biden narratives floating on Twitter. It's election season, and so of course the gaslighting campaign continues. I keep having these videos pop up on my feed. It's just so incredibly frustrating. All of Joe Biden's little surrogates and shills are showing up all over the media, telling us just how vigorous and how amazing he is. Oh, the vitality of this man. He is unlike any other. Let me just give you a taste of what we're seeing all over the platform, all over the X platform, that is.
The fact that the American people elected him in the first place because he has the wisdom, the judgment, and the temperament to take on difficult, complex situations like the one that we're facing in the Middle East.
And I can tell you this, that there is no one who has a better grasp of global issues of world affairs than President Joe Biden.
He's the most experienced man ever. He is so on the ball. This guy is sharp. That's what they're telling us. But if that's the case, I'd really like them to explain this video, because what I just saw, to me, is evidence of an old man in old age and clear cognitive decline. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on, and then I want to talk about, just some of the dishonesty. We've got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so let's continue to play the contrast game. Let's compare and contrast what they're saying with, well, reality. Joe Biden's the best, you saw all the clips, and then there's this. What was that? When Donald Trump is making fun of Joe Biden for being lost, confused, dazed and confused, leftoids tend to clutch their pearls and act all offended. How offensive.
Do you think at least one time he'd get up and say, I'm running for president? Where am I going? Where the hell am I going? I want to get out. Oh, no, over there.
The question I'm asking is, how can something so accurate be considered offensive? If something is true, then it shouldn't be offensive. It's just a fact. Joe Biden clearly isn't doing so well. The only acceptable reaction to the clip that you just saw is, WTF? What the frick did I just watch? That's the President of the United States. Clear cognitive decline. But honestly, from my perspective, the cognitive decline issue is the most minor issue. Joe Biden's a puppet, blah, blah, we get it. It's one thing to be an empty shell of a human being, a vegetable, so to speak. It's another to not have your cognitive function and faculties while also being the world's biggest liar who has formed the most dishonest cabinet of all time. We are in election season. Talking points are important. Honesty is important. Your message, your rhetoric is important. But the Biden administration has decided that they're doubling down on all the dishonest nonsense. They're heading into 2024, attempting to get elected with a geriatric octogenarian who's falling apart and a platform that is built on nothing but lies. Pete Buttigieg took to MSNBC yesterday to push the Biden message. Once again, we're talking about Bidenomics. But guess what? Instead of accepting the reality, they're still pushing this nonsense copium.
I think it's important to recognize where people are at, too. The country's been through a lot. Families have been through a lot. And just because a number on a page looks good doesn't mean people can feel it. Anybody who's been in a relationship knows that if somebody's not feeling great, the first thing you say to them is not, you should be feeling better than you are, right? Stop not feeling it. So, look, we've been through a lot as a country. Having said that, we're also achieving a lot as a country. And while there is a very well-funded noise machine trying to poke holes in those achievements, trying to talk down the economy and all of the things America has done, I think it reflects well on the president that the American people under his leadership and the American economy under his leadership have added so many jobs, including, importantly, in areas like manufacturing.
He initially acknowledges that when things aren't going well, like let's say you're in a relationship and your significant other isn't feeling great, well, you probably shouldn't tell them, well, everything's peachy and you're the problem. Then he immediately goes on in the later portion of his statement to say that all of Biden's issues aren't due to his performance or the lack of results. No, they're due to a very well-funded noise machine trying to talk down the economy. Okay, I find it interesting he says well-funded. Is he talking about guys like me? Because I'm pretty sure we're not funded by anyone. We're just looking at the facts. And the facts are that gas is up 50%, prices across the board are up nearly 20%, average real wages are down 4%, and that all these supposed successes or economic successes that the Biden administration is touting are completely bogus. And let's not go into the past and rehash all of the debunking we've already done. We've been debunking Bidenomics for years. Let's stick with the most recent news. Supposedly, Joe Biden deserves amazing credit for his performance on the issue of creating jobs. He keeps telling us how many amazing jobs he's creating, how many Americans he's putting to work. Well, it's yet again another lie. You see what I mean? The same combination, right? The Biden image is dementia plus lies. Pete Buttigieg said this.
And the American economy under his leadership have added so many jobs, including, importantly, in areas like manufacturing, construction. If you look at the latest above expectations job report, yet another hot jobs report last week.
Under Joe Biden's leadership, we have added so many jobs. Jobs. And they keep telling us recently about these 300,000+ jobs added in the month of March. It's a great headline. They keep touting these amazing headlines. But if you look beneath the surface, if you look under the hood, if you read past the headline, it's not as peachy as they're pretending. Here's EJ Antoni, PhD on Twitter. He made a fantastic post, by the way. If this is the content he's releasing regularly, I'd suggest giving him a follow. He writes, for convenience, here's all the info on the March jobs report in a single thread. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, especially regarding American citizens losing so much ground in this economy. The headline number, once again, looked good, with over 300,000 payrolls added, and the employment number from the household survey rising even faster. But what kinds of jobs are being created? Turns out that they're all part-time jobs. Look at the chart. It seems as though there was a loss in full-time jobs, meanwhile a huge addition in part-time jobs. It seems as though Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was right all those years ago.
Unemployment is low because everyone has 2 jobs.
Just in the wrong context. She was describing Bidenomics, not Trumponomics. And this isn't new. It's a continuation of a long trend. Full-time employment is lower today than it was in February 2023, with all of the net job creation since then being part-time work. Why the surge in part-time employment? Well, many Americans have been laid off and have replaced one full-time job with 2 or 3 part-time ones. People are also picking up additional jobs to make ends meet in a cost of living crisis. Pete Buttigieg was just celebrating Joe Biden's amazing job creation, Joe Biden's amazing economy. But the reality is that people are literally losing their jobs or not making enough working one job, and so what they're doing is working 2 to 3 part-time jobs instead, probably working 60 to 80 hours a week. Then we learn that a large portion of the jobs created were actually government jobs. Maybe at this point you're starting to see what they're doing, What we're seeing is not economic success. What we're seeing is an expansion of government. More departments, more money printing, more tax dollars in order to create more useless departments, more bureaucratic government leeches, and not much action in the private sector. The reality of Bidenomics, especially on the issue of jobs, isn't so great. Let's very quickly continue this thread, because the Biden administration keeps touting how amazing their pandemic recovery has been, but according to the data, it's all fake news. The thread continues, we'd rather see good-paying, blue-collar manufacturing jobs taking the lead, but that sector has been anemic. Employment is up a mere 0.1% since January 2023, having added 0 manufacturing jobs in March of 24. While it's good to see that labor force participation rate climb, we are still way below the pre-pandemic rate, and that's hiding the true level of unemployment by excluding millions of workers from the calculation. You can also see that labor force is clearly below pre-pandemic trend. You see the same thing with the employment to population ratio, well below the pre-pandemic trend. The number of non-farm payrolls, way below pre-pandemic trend. Employment level from the household survey, millions below the trend. And the Bureau of Labor Statistics even has a category of people called not in the labor force, and it's about 5 million, and way above the pre-pandemic trend, which had begun trending downward in September of 2018. So, in conclusion, if you account for the millions of people who are clearly missing from the labor market today, and therefore are not employed, you can calculate that the unemployment rate isn't 3.8%, but between anywhere from 6.5 to 7.7% depending on which dataset and methodology that you prefer to use. In other words, the Biden administration is fudging the numbers, misrepresenting the numbers. In other words, it's all a big frickin' scam, and you're the sucker losing out, while Joe Biden walks confused on stage, while his handlers continue to insult you to your face with all of these ridiculous claims they're making in the media. Americans are not benefiting, in fact, quite the opposite. This is the last piece of data that we're going to look at, actually, I might as well. It turns out that all this job creation isn't actually benefiting American citizens. Take a look at this. Annual change in employment level by the thousands. All those jobs that are being created are going to foreign-born immigrants. Meanwhile, native-born Americans are losing out, dropping out of the workforce like we've never seen before. This is the opposite of America First. It's the opposite of good Trump-style economic policies. What we're seeing is what we've seen in other Western nations. Expansion of government, a move towards a massive socialist state, and the mass importation of foreign labor, whether it's low-skilled labor or high-skilled labor, creating immense downward pressure on wages and kicking native-born Americans out of the workforce. So I guess in conclusion, the next time you see one of these clowns on TV touting the success of Bidenomics, at least now you're going to be armed with the facts, giving you the ability to see right through the BS, because that's exactly what it is. This administration is full of it. There's some sort of alternative motive here, some sort of alternative plan. What it looks like is a globalist agenda, and Joe Biden's the confused puppet that they're simply using as a surrogate to pass their legislative agenda. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.